All right, guys, welcome back to the Leave It in the Ring Roundtable. I am your host, G Funky Boxing, also known as G Funkadelic. I was just given that name by Beeb before we went on. But what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
So happy right now,
Good.
man. I got the whole family here.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
right, man.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you, G Fung, and everybody else.
That's
Great.
right.
It's great to be here, guys.
Yeah, and we got a first timer here, Eric Lorta from Ringside Reporter, and
Yeah.
he's ready to cook it up, man, with us. We got some good, interesting topics here that we want to talk about today. We might be joined by a few others, so we'll wait and see. But as of right now, we're going to get this fire started. All right. So, guys, we just had some, I guess, breaking news. I don't want to be too much like some of these guys are here with the breaking news stuff, but um, we just discovered that a fighter at a gloves or a fighter's gloves at a selection, this glove selection meeting, was discovered to have no padding. I believe his name is Miguel Roman, and yeah, controversy out there, man. So I'm gonna go to I'll go to Eric first, man. What do you think about something like this, man?
You know, I tell you what, after reading the article and everything like that, we just, I honestly, I think it was they said it was either a mistake by Reyes Boxing Gloves or Team Roman. I kind of err on the side of caution here. I think it's Reyes. It wouldn't surprise me if it was just, because listen, I mean, if they're going to take the, padding out of the gloves, wouldn't they do it like during the locker room or something like that? They're not going to have the other coach. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense that it would happen before the fight when everybody's inspecting the gloves. It's more, to me, it seems more like a manufacturer's error than an actual somebody actually being malicious about it and removing the stuffing from the gloves.
Yeah, definitely a little unusual. Beeb, my man Beeb, what's your thoughts on this, man?
I have to agree with my man Eric here. It's just highly unlikely that in today's boxing, with the stringent rules and how everything is being watched and observed, I don't think anyone would ever try that. You look back to the Louis Resto case. Louis Resto actually did time for that. Yeah, got put in jail. So this is like a criminal offense. This is assault with a deadly weapon if you take the padding out of a glove and you enter the ring with a glove with no padding inside it. So some serious business here. And if, as Eric said, if it was going to be done, it would be done in a locker room. It wouldn't be done at a glove selection meeting, with both camps there. Just highly unlikely this was intentional, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of rules out there against this type of stuff, man. Emil Carr, thoughts on this, brother? What do you think, man?
I think I'm going to remain agnostic on this one because at the same time, I kind of see it very difficult, or it's difficult for me to imagine that Reyes would be sending out product without any padding. That's kind of difficult to believe as well. So, I mean, both scenarios are pretty difficult to believe. I don't really know where I stand on this.
Okay. Interesting, but I get it. D style boxing. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I'm with a milk car. I can't just assume. I'm hoping kind of that it's a manufacturer error. We cannot rule that out, of course. But I mean, I find it interesting that padding will be missing from a Cleto Reyes glove. Not impossible, but that it could be a manufacturing error. But let me say this: what it does kind of show us is this. Okay, one, we all know boxing isn't squeaky clean, and that's what we have things set in place. So that's why there is a glove selection meeting. So the other corner can look at the gloves and they weigh them and all that good stuff. So as you could see, the process does work in catching. Okay, this wasn't even the last firewall in catching, whether it's accidental or on purpose, a glove that has less padding in it. So that's what I'll say about that.
This was the first line of defense, and it couldn't even get past the first line of defense for all you glove gate conspiracy theorists out there. So this is how hard it is. Okay.
Absolutely. And my thoughts on this are, I kind of agree with what everybody had to say here. It's still really early to kind of make a decision on who's to blame here. It is. I mean, you guys see, it is very difficult to try to sneak something like this past the commissions, the glove inspectors, everybody, the trainers. I mean, everybody puts their hands on these gloves prior to the fight happening, and we see somebody got busted. Now, who's to blame? I'm not going to point any fingers yet, because again, it's still early. We don't know, but it does show that, look, the commission is there and they're doing their job. They're doing what they're supposed to do to protect the fighters. And these gloves were found to have no padding. I haven't read the full article yet. Don't know if there was just some removed or a lot removed or whatever. I'm gonna wait myself to make sure all the stuff is out there, all the information is out there before I give my final thoughts on it. But I am glad that this type of stuff got caught, and if this guy's guilty, or whoever it is guilty of removing this type of this padding, I don't think they belong in this sport, man. I mean, this is a serious thing. Just like Beeb said, a man did time behind bars over something like this before. So this is a very serious thing here, man. But I'm glad that the commission did their job and found out what was going, or at least found the gloves without padding. And we will see what comes from out of this, man. But that was, yeah. Go ahead.
The thing, G Funky, this wasn't like a kind of shitty Everlast glove that you find at like Modell's or Walmart. This was like a professional grade quality glove produced for professional fights by Reyes. Like, I personally see it as very difficult to believe that some product like that would go out missing padding. It's not something made in China, on a shop floor where they're like churning out thousands of these a month. This is a professional glove.
Yeah. Yep. Those gloves that those guys fight with are different than the ones, like you said, that we buy at the store. They're very, very different. There's a lot of people here. I want to give a shout out. No Paul, Bruce Goes, Chicano Prophet, Phil 508, Cano Loco. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're gonna move on here to the next topic, and this is a good topic, man. I like it, and I'm just gonna go around the panel and see what you guys think about this. And this time I'm going to start with D-Style. Crawford versus Spence, man. Do you think that we'll ever see this fight happen?
Look, man, I hope, but I actually have my doubts. I'm leaning towards no. And I know that's hard to believe, right? I mean, from the outside looking in, someone could say, why can't this fight happen? The same weight class, same sport, same weight class, both on top of their class. They're both considered two of the best in the world. They're both titleists. Why can't you make this fight happen? And too many politics and too much leverage on PBC's side. You know what I mean? Like, PBC can make other fights for Spence, and although they're about to do the Garcia fight, so we'll see what happens after that. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I don't believe we're going to see the fight. And looking at how they're already, like, Crawford just recently came out. He said, I want 60%. Spence wants 60%. One can argue maybe that's a strategy, right? That's what I'm negotiating so I can get 50-50. But I really don't believe Spence is going to give in to 50-50. And if you think about it, why should he? I mean, he's had better pay-per-view numbers than Crawford. Crawford could be looking at it from a different perspective. Like, hey, I've been higher in the pound for pound list than you. Kind of like, Martinez never understood why he was the B-side to Cotto. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of fighters just fall into that category. My answer, and as heartbreaking as it is, and as, and it's a good example of boxing doesn't deliver at the right time for these big mega fights. Okay. And this is an example of it, Now, granted, it might happen in 2022, once he's off the top rank, banner. And if you could sign with PBC, maybe it's possible that way. But you're going to have to be realistic with the numbers you're asking for, really. I mean, you're not going to get 40% in the Spence fight. I'll love to hear what others have to say. I mean, I'm kind of open to it, but that's how I feel about it right now. The answer is no.
A no from D-Style on Crawford versus Spence. Amilcar, Thoughts, man? Will we ever get to see these two guys in the ring, man?
I think it really comes down to two things. One, how many fights Crawford has left on his contract. I've heard different things about that. I don't know if anyone else on the okay, two fights. So it's not going to happen in the next two fights. We know that much. And the second thing is whether Crawford's going to be willing to take short money, because he's going to have to take short money because he doesn't do business at the box office, and it's going to be difficult. Just like my man D Style just said, for him to, you know, demand and receive a 50-50 payday. It might even be difficult for him to demand and receive a 60-40 payday, to be honest. So unless he's willing to take short money and wait at least 3 fights, fight's not going to happen.
Good points there that you made, man. Make sure that you guys that are here watching smash the like button for us. All right. It's the easiest thing to do. It's free. You know, it doesn't cost you no money. Just bam, hit that thing for us. All right. Beeb, thoughts, man? Is Crawford and Spence ever going to throw down, man? What do you think?
Yes, it'll happen in 2022. It won't happen in 2021. And it'll be better that it does happen in 2022 because I believe that Crawford will fight Pacquiao next. He'll have the WBO, and then he'll win the WBA from Pacquiao. So he'll have 2 belts. And obviously we know that Spence has 2 belts with the IBF and the WBC. So that way it'll be for all the marbles when they do fight. And the fight will be huge in 2022. And again, Crawford, as long as he's with Bob Arum, that fight's not going to happen because PBC will not work with Bob Arum unless they absolutely have to. And they're not in a position right now where they actually have to. And I've said this several times before in the past. I think Bob Arum's a hypocrite because back in the day when he had Margarito, Cotto, Marquez, Bradley, Pacquiao, when he had all those welterweights, Josh Clottey, he did all in-house fights. We got 3 Pacquiao Bradley fights. We got 2 Margarito Cotto fights. We got 4 Marquez Pacquiao fights. He kept recycling the fights. He kept doing them over and over again. He did all in-house fights when he had all the welterweights. So obviously he knows how the business is. So this should be no surprise to him that someone's using leverage over him that he once did when he had leverage. And same thing with Don King. When Don King had all the heavyweights, what did he do? He made sure that they were all in-house fights. If someone who wasn't signed to him wanted to fight the heavyweight champion, then they would have to commit 2 or 3 fights or even 4 fights to him in order to get the shot. So this is how the business of boxing works. It should be no surprise to Bob Arum. All of a sudden he wants to, cry and be a sourpuss about it, but he's a hypocrite because he did the same thing.
Great points there, man.
Really quick. I mean, someone made the point, kind of local, by 2022, Spence will be at 154. Do you have any response to that, Beeb? Anything you want to add to that?
It's possible, but here's the thing: if the fight, if the fight with Crawford is for all the marbles and it's a big money fight, then I think he'd go for that first. In my opinion.
Yeah. Money will definitely keep him at 147.
Look what Brooke did. Brooke went up to 154, even went up to 160, but if the right fight came his way at 147, what did he do? He grabbed it with 2 hands.
He did.
Yep. We know money talks at the end of the day. Yeah. Eric, what do you think, man? Will we see these 2 guys in the ring?
I don't think you'll see them anytime soon. I think that as long as Crawford is in Top Rank, as long as he's there, he'll never fight Spence. Spence has got too many people on the PB side, too many welterweights, too many big guys over there. He's got just way too much competition. He's fighting Danny Garcia. You still got Sean Porter over there who wants a rematch. There's way too many guys over there to fight for him. Terrence Crawford, and I agree with Beeb, I think he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao next. Hopefully for him, and he gets a big payday out of it. But once he gets that big payday, does he stay with Top Rank? That I don't know. And if he does stay with Top Rank, he's never going to get the Spence fight. Spence will move up in weight after that, and then that fight will be gone.
Yeah, good points, man. I'm going to chime in here now, man. It's my turn to chime in on this. Gosh, it seems so complicated these days to make a damn fight. And it's just to me, it seems like it's not even getting any easier to make these fights happen. Like when we had the last time we had a big fight where two guys were on one side or the other was Floyd and Pacquiao. Now, I mean, that's a little more understandable because both of those guys were, let's just be honest, they were much bigger than these dudes as far as notoriety goes. Like casuals, everybody knew who Mayweather and Pacquiao was. So, I mean, you understand why promoters would want to draw that thing out and want to negotiate as much money as possible per side, whatever, you know. But here, I mean, honestly, these guys aren't that big, you know. I just honestly I don't understand. I don't understand like the whole delay here. Like again, these guys aren't that popular. Like there should be no reason to say, just hey, just throw them in there. Let's see what happens, you know. But greed. I believe it all comes down to greed with some of these guys, you know. And me, I'm not a big A side, B side guy, but that's just the nature of the business nowadays. So, according to the thing, we got to give it to Spence, I guess, they're saying 60-40. Crawford won 60-40 himself. But what makes me kind of believe that it won't happen is because the things that I'm hearing from Crawford now, like I just seen a video of him on Twitter today talking about how he's not even interested in Spence anymore. Like he said it himself, like, I'm not even interested anymore. Like if it happens, it happens, but it's not one of those fights that I'm like begging for or that I need. And he keeps saying, I don't understand why people say I need Spence. I don't need Spence. That's a matter of opinion. But I would definitely like to see the fight happen. But I mean, I don't know, man. These guys are playing such hardball with two guys that just really aren't that big yet. Like these guys aren't crossover yet, stars, and they're already having these kind of issues. Like it's to me, it just seems like if they continue to push these guys and they get bigger and bigger, like the fight's is going to make it harder and harder to make, So that's my opinion, man. I don't think we'll see this fight happen, man. I just don't. Before we move on, anybody here want to touch on anything on this topic before we move on to the next one?
I just want to say one last thing, because a lot of times we've seen two fighters in this situation before, and it's all part of the bravado. Oh, I don't need him. The other guy says he doesn't need the other guy. But that's both bravado. That's like just bravado, because that's like one guy not wanting to give an inch to the other guy. So if he says he needs him, it's a sign. It's a show and a sign of weakness. So he's never gonna. They're never. Deep down inside, they both know that this is the fight to make. They both know this. But they can't say it because it's almost like they're going to be conceding to the other guy. So that's why they say that. I don't put much stock into when the fighters say that, because Floyd and Pacquiao said the same thing. I don't need him. He doesn't need me. But look what happened when they both came together. So
they got paid for sure, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something, D-Stow? I think he froze.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little bit frozen. Amilcar, anything you want to touch on before we switch topics, man?
No, not on this. I mean, the only thing really that's pushing this fight more than kind of older fights, and I brought up Floyd and Mosley as those guys were bigger in terms of name recognition. The difference now today is all these fanagers online with Twitter and Instagram accounts talking shit at one another, and that kind of builds the fervor in social media over the net. So that's the one thing I would say that's kind of pushing the fight more than anything. It'd be a reason why it might happen sooner rather than later.
Eric, any final thoughts, or were you good, man?
I think that it's weird because, I remember the Sugar Ray Leonard Thomas Hearns fight. That was a fight that was really built. Trinidad and De La Hoya was another fight that was really built. But I'm wondering, if he's going to try, you kind of wonder if Spence may maybe try to pull a Canelo here with the Triple G. Wait till he gets a little bit older, wait till he gets a few more miles on him, and then now's the right time to get in there with him.
Yeah.
I think that might be the route they might be going, but I don't know.
He's 32 already, Crawford, too. Spence is like 3 or 4 years younger than him, I think.
Yeah.
I think Spence is 28, 29, something like that.
And he's starting to get older. I mean, Crawford's starting to get older. Obviously, he didn't look it in his last fight. He looked great. But, I mean, physically, he's going to get older. That's just the nature of the beast,
Yeah. Father Time is undefeated, man. We all know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also still haven't seen Spence after the car
Yeah.
crash, so I'm actually interested in seeing him
Yeah.
against, um, you know,
Danny Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you, Garcia. Danny
Yeah, so
Garcia in the next
Spence
fight.
is 30 and Crawford's 32, so he's 2 years younger. So that's 2 years more of his prime than he has in
Yeah.
Crawford. Yeah, that's a difference.
Here's what I will say, and this goes to all fans out there. Okay, obviously, as a boxing fan, I mean, I was asked, do I believe the fight will happen? I'm still hoping it does. Okay, but we have too many fanboys out there that they just sided with Spence just because he's PBC, or just sided with Crawford just because he's top rank. I don't give a shit who they're signed with or any of that shit. Okay, as boxing fans, we should be demanding that the fight happens. That's our job as fans, right? To tell Aaron, PBC, we want to see this fight. Okay, that's the message we need to convey, because that's going to increase the likeliness of the fight happening. Now, do they always listen to the fans? No. Okay, but the more demand there is for the fight, the more likely the fight is to happen. That's what I'll say about that.
It's such a weird dynamic what's happened in boxing is with fans rooting for promotional companies. It's like these losers that root for Batman to make more money than the Avengers or vice versa because they like DC or Marvel. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It's a different time. It's a different generation. That's for sure, man. I don't ever recall my friends and I when we would sit around and talk about boxing. I mean, we would talk about boxing for hours. Never once was it like, well, my guy's on this side or your guy on that. Like it was never like that. It was either my guy's gonna whoop your guys' ass and that's that, And so it's definitely a new generational thing, I think, man. But just for fun, guys, real quickly, who do you think would win? D-Style, who do you think would win, man, if they did fight?
Look, I felt this way before the crash, right? And I feel that even more now. I think Crawford beats Errol Spence. Okay. I do believe Spence would give Crawford a lot of problems in the first half of the fight, but I do believe at some point Crawford would have Spence timing down. I think he would figure Spence out like he does everybody, and he would start punishing Spence in the second half of the fight. I think Crawford would win a close decision, but I do think Crawford would win. And that's, by the way, that's my analysis pre-car crash. Right now, no one even knows if Spence could bite down on a mouth guard for 12 rounds. Okay, we don't even know. This guy lost his teeth. Okay, got him replaced. Right, just that alone is something I'm wondering. So we're gonna see, but I got Crawford.
Amilcar, you're quickly, man. Who would you pick in that fight if it happened?
More than the post crash, and I kind of agree with D-Style on that too about the crash playing a big factor in terms of his jaw and his teeth. But I got to tell you, I was super impressed. I know a lot of people weren't because of they felt that Brook was kind of old and washed up, but I was very impressed with the way he handled Kell Brook, and it showed me that he can compete against big physical welterweights, possibly even junior middleweights, and the switch hitting, the ability to hit hard with power from both sides, the adjustments, the mental game that he plays with his opponents in the ring. All of that has now made me just side now more from it being a 50-50 fight to kind of a 55-45, 60-40 fight in favor of Terrence Crawford.
Okay. Beeb, who would you take in that fight if it was to happen, man?
I was riding with Spence for the longest time, and as much as I respected Crawford, I just thought Spence would be too big and too strong. I thought the speed was pretty even. I thought the difference would be Spence's inside game. But what I've noticed about Crawford is when he wants to bite down and be a dog in there, he can grit it out with anyone. I mean, he's been in there with big guys. He can see, he can be that seek and destroy type guy when he wants to be. And I think he's a lot stronger. It's like with Floyd. A lot of people underestimated Floyd's physical strength. They just looked at him and didn't think that he was that big of a guy. Crawford's like a wiry guy. I just think he's strong, and I think he's just got a mean streak to him. And to me, he looks like he's, as crazy as it may sound, looks like he's getting better. Just looks like he's getting better. He seems more confident, more comfortable in there right now. And I've always tried to second guess the guy, and I'm just tired of doing it now because he keeps showing me something different every fight. Like every fight is not the same. Like he's always exposing a different wrinkle. And I don't care what anyone says about Kell Brook. No one blows him out of there like that. No one at welterweight, anyways.
Golovkin didn't do that to him at
No.
middleweight. He never put him on his ass.
No.
His trainer threw in the towel because he was blinking and his eye was
100%. Like Crawford just, and the way he did it too, he just switched to southpaw, and he was throwing that right hand like a power punch from the lead position, and the way he was able to do it so subtly, and the way he just turned it over like it was amazing. Like
thing of beauty for sure, man.
That was an
unorthodox shot though.
That was a beautiful move that I was just very impressed how he did that and got him out of there with that.
Right. Eric, what do you think, man? Who wins that fight if it ever happens?
I tell you what, I had Spence up until he fought Porter, and that fight really changed it for me because there was something there. I don't know. He should have blown Porter out, and he just didn't. And while I think he does well in the first, maybe the first four rounds in that fight with Crawford, I think Crawford figures him out, and I think Crawford, I don't know that Crawford gets him out of there, but he comes real close, put it that way.
Yeah. I've always said it too, man. Pre-car crash for Spence. I thought Crawford would beat him. I think it's a tough fight, though. I don't think it's easy, but I think that his ability to switch hit, it's hard to prepare for a guy like that, you know? And not only is he good at it, but he's one of the best fighters out there. So it's not like you're just fighting some regular southpaw when he turns southpaw. You know, like, you know, you're fighting one of the best when he does it. So it's a tough fight, you know, but I always favored Crawford, and I always said I would pick him in that one. But we'll see, man. We'll see if this fight even happens. But, you know, it's always fun to talk about, you know, who would win. So let's move on to the next topic. Dana White taking some shots, man. He loaded up the 45 and took some shots at Bob Arum, man. So we're going to show you guys a video clip here of what he had to say.
Yeah, I didn't see how that whole thing played out, but I heard Bob Arum fucking little bitch crying about it. Fuck him. I had to throw that in there. I fucking hate that guy. Anyway.
Did you see his fight, not to bitch on Bob Arum, but he said that, I've lost so much money on Terence Crawford, I could build a house in Beverly Hills or something. Like,
you imagine if I said that? Are you fucking kidding me? You guys would murder me if I said that. I'd never hear the end of that. That's what you do. That's not his fucking problem. That's your problem. His problem isn't to figure out how you make money. You fucking signed a deal with this kid. Your job is to promote him. Your job is, you made a deal. All these kids that I signed, you know, and if you look right now at all the kids that we've signed and how many people we have on our roster is very inflated right now. We have a very, very big roster, the biggest roster we've ever had in the history of the company. I have to pay all these kids. How I pay them is not their fucking problem. It's my fucking problem. And this guy wants to go. Imagine me saying, I got to pay Conor McGregor fucking this much money. I could have built a house in Beverly Hills. Shut the fuck up, you fucking scumbag. Pay your fucking fighter what you owe him. That's your job. Bob Arum is a piece of fucking shit. Good night.
Man, talk about shots fired. Man, Dana White did not hold back at all on old Bob Arum, man. I mean, what's wrong with this guy going at a senior citizen like this, man? What's up with this dude, man?
Bro? That's the first thing in my mind. Why are you so mad, bro? Like, that's not serious, bro.
Within all that whole rant, there was some truth in there, but, you know, we're going to go around, and I'm going to pass the baton again to Eric, man. What are your thoughts on what Dana White had to say here about old Bob Arum?
Well, everybody knows who follows me. I'm a close personal friend of Dana White, Uncle Dana, as we call him. I'll tell you what, I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. It's not Terence Crawford's problem how Bob Arum pays him. Or, you know, it's Bob Arum's job to promote him. Terrence Crawford, all he has to do is get in a ring and fight. And he's done everything you've asked him to do. He's knocked everybody out in front of him. He's done everything you've asked him to do. But you haven't done your part and promoted this guy. He should be one of the biggest stars in boxing today, and he's not. You know, he really isn't. You know, I mean, he's had a pay-per-view and that tanked. You know, look at Errol Spence. He's a bigger star right now than Terrence Crawford, and he shouldn't be. You know, Bob Arum needs to do a better job with Terrence Crawford. I think he's 100% accurate on this. Now, some of it does fall on the fighter. Yeah, that's true. But listen, man, you're the promoter. It's your job. Make something out of nothing. You know, that's your job.
I agree 100%, man. The promoter's job is to promote. The fighter's job is to fight. Beep, what are your thoughts on this, man? Dana White firing vicious shots at Bob Arum.
Well, this is the thing that aggravates me the most about this is these promoters, they come up with these contracts. Like Terrence Crawford has a $2 million guarantee minimum per fight contract as long as he wins. That was Bob Arum gave that to him. So that's what you owe him. Same thing with DAZN, like DAZN and Golden Boy, how they handled the Canelo situation. And then they tried to cut his pay in half. It's like if you work out a deal, the deal should be what the deal is. You shouldn't renegotiate it midway through the contract. You wouldn't want a fighter to do that to you, so you have to honor your deal. A lot of these promoters think that their job is just get a network deal. All I gotta do is get a network deal, and I've done my job. As long as I give the fighter a home and a place to fight at, and I get him the fights, that's all that I have to do. You know, but no, that's not all you have to do. Look what Fox is doing right now. You know, with promoting the Spence Garcia fight. I'm seeing stuff for it right now. When I'm on Fox, I watch those shows on Fox. My brother watches a lot of sports on Fox. Every commercial, they're showing a Spence Garcia promo. Now, they don't do that for Crawford. They didn't start doing that for Crawford Brook until like I think the week before the fight. Now, this fight with Spence and Garcia is a month away, and they're showing a lot of stuff. You know, they're talking about it on Fox. You know, they're really trying to hype it up. They're not doing the same thing for Terrence Crawford. There's a distinct difference in the way Bob Arum promoted Lomachenko and the way he's promoting Crawford. Look how hard they pushed that Lomachenko-Lopez fight. Look how hard they pushed that. Look how much press they gave that fight. But they don't do the same for Crawford. Okay? For whatever reason, I don't know why. So there's more than just getting a network deal for the fighter. You got to actually help him out. If he had a problem with Terrence Crawford, they should have had a meeting. They should have sat down. They should have had a strategy. These are things that, you know, I think you could work on. Let's try to get this. Let's do that. Let's have you go to some events. Let's try to get you on TV shows more on ESPN. See if we can get you on ESPN First Take. We can get you on Max Kellerman's, Max on Boxing. You know, work out a strategy. But to sit there and air out your dirty laundry in public, which Bob Arum did before when he was trashing Rigondeaux too. After Rigondeaux beat Nonito Donaire, when Nonito Donaire, I think, was the number 1 pound for pound fighter or number 2 pound for pound fighter on the Ring Magazine list. And he just beat him. And after that great victory, all Bob Arum did, instead of working off that momentum, all he did was trash Rigondeaux. And that's just not a promoter's job. If you have an issue with a fighter, just like if you're at your job and your boss has an issue with you, no one wants to be yelled at in front of everybody. Go in the office and hash it out. Same thing with a promoter and a boxer. To sit there and air out your dirty laundry and sit there and say give the journalists these sound bites that you know that they're going to run with over and over and over again, and you know it's going to get back to your fighter. That's just a total lack of respect for a fighter like Terrence Crawford, who in my mind is the best fighter in the world right now. That's my opinion. So to be treated like that is totally disrespectful and unprofessional of Bob Arum. And I suspect after these two fights are up, Crawford will be out of there.
Yeah, good points, Beeb. Good points there, man, and especially about Rigo. And I'm going to touch a little on that when it's my turn, but I'm going to pass the buck to Amilcar. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, I was actually going to touch on the same thing as Joe right there about Rigo. I was actually at the fight at Radio City Music Hall here in New York. I went with my sister and my cousin, actually, and we had a great time, and we were one of the only few Rigo fans there. But, yeah, I mean, I only wish that promoters had licenses kind of like lawyers do, because he's engaging in professional malpractice as far as I'm concerned. Joe, you said it yourself. It's unprofessional, that type of behavior, and I don't really want to bring race into everything, but I think that race does have a part to play here because, it seems like he's only done this really to black fighters. First, it was Rigo, a black Cuban, and he said explicitly that he couldn't promote him because he's a black Cuban, and black Cubans don't have any fans because African Americans don't support them and white Cubans don't support them, so they're unpromotable. And then he started talking about that he's boring and this and that. When if you look at Rigo's record up until that point, he was literally icing almost everyone that was put in front of him. And yeah, he was set up to be a stepping stone for Donaire, and it didn't work out for Bob. Guess what? You still have a duty to promote this guy. And now with Crawford, it's like, look, you signed it. It's like buyer's remorse. Being shared in front of millions of people on ESPN. It's ridiculous. And the thing is that I don't understand is why anybody would sign with somebody who would do that to his fighters while they're still under contract. And I don't like Dana White at all. I've never liked him. I actually think that he exploits his UFC fighters far worse than even the most exploited fighters in boxing get exploited. But he was right in this case. And I think, a lot of it was theater. The way he stormed off and kind of dropped the mic and said what he said the way he said. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a guy that Joe really likes a lot, who likes to be in front of the lights and to get clickbait. But yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with anything he said.
Good stuff, Milcar. Made a lot of great points there. D-Style, thoughts on this, man? Dana White.
Look, a couple of things. I disagree with something Blood said in the chat. I think Blood said Rigondeaux would be a legend under Dana White's system. Well, look at what Dana White did to Mighty Mouse. He traded him for that wrestler dude that got knocked out by Masvidal like in 2 seconds flat or whatever that was.
Ben Askren, yeah.
Yes, thank you. So, and Dana has publicly told guys they're not worth so much money before, right? I mean, this is the same guy, by the way, that came out and said, like John Joe, he wants to make the same money that Deontay Wilder's making. Is he crazy? So he has questioned guys before, and he has gone at it with his fighters before. When John Jones said, nah, I ain't going to fight this dude with like a couple, whatever the notice was. He didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen. And he said, I don't want to fight Chael Sonnen like with a short notice. I'm a fighter that likes to prepare. Okay, he was demonized by Dana White. Dana White came out and was super angry at the guy. I mean, he publicly came out and said things about his fighters. He publicly feuded with Tito Ortiz, a guy who, along with Ken Shamrock, revived the UFC with their pay-per-view feud. You know what I mean? That was the first pay-per-view that they actually made money in after losing so much money. This is the same guy that is still throwing in Ken Shamrock's face that I paid for your ACL surgery so you come back and fight. Did you leave out the part that was a big pay-per-view for you, Dana, and for the company? You know what I mean? So this is not a guy that's squeaky clean. But with that said, he's right. Like you don't complain. Like you don't come out and do the opposite of what a promoter should do for your fighter. Okay. I mean, if it was the other way around, let's say if he was saying, I don't want Errol Spence. I mean, I wouldn't make any money off of Errol Spence. Why would I want him? I'll rather buy a house in Beverly Hills. Well, that's different, right? That's not your fighter. So, but I want to add this, though. Why are you so mad, bro? Like, do you really hate Arum that bad? Like, he's calling him a piece of shit. Like you fucking asshole. I fucking hate that guy. I mean, God, what did Arum personally do to Dana White? Maybe somebody has the answer because I don't know.
I'll tell you what he did. He was a big person that was against the UFC. He didn't want the UFC to be legitimized at all. He was very critical of the UFC, and he knows. And obviously, Bob's based in Las Vegas, same as the Fertitta brothers, same as Dana White, and you know, bad mouthing Dana to all the people in Las Vegas and stuff. So he was really hammering like a lot. He would every chance he got when the UFC first started getting popular. Every chance he got when he was asked about the UFC, he trashed it. He said it was a joke. You know, I'm not a fan of it. He always would down it. You know, and I think the big thing with Dana is he holds grudges and he remembers things like the whole thing with Ariel Helwani leaking that story, and it broke the next day. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. But just the fact that he leaked it when he was asked not to pissed Dana off, and to this day he has a grudge against Ariel Helwani. So I think because of the way Bob would continuously trash the UFC for years, he was basically a guy who was just anti-UFC forever, and Dana got tired of hearing it. Same thing with De La Hoya when De La Hoya came out and trashed the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight and told people they shouldn't buy it. That's when that feud started with De La Hoya. So Dana's just the type of person where he doesn't like anyone that would try to hurt his business. And by what Arum said, he's just really being negative towards the UFC, saying it's a joke, saying that he can't watch it and people shouldn't buy it, and these guys aren't real fighters and this and that. And I just think that he actually even called UFC people who fought in the UFC homosexuals because the way they rolled around on the ground and wrestled each other and stuff.
Oh shit!
So I mean, he said a lot of negative things about the UFC. So I think Dana took that to heart and he hasn't forgot about it.
Yeah, I remember that. He said, when they get punched, they get knocked out because they got no chins. They're rolling around like homosexuals. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man, this goes a lot deeper than I thought, man.
Yeah. But like really, are you gonna just carry that hate for the rest of your life? I don't know. It seems a bit too much for me.
Well, at least 10 years, and then after that, you grow out of it.
At some point, you got to move on.
There's a statute of limitations on bitterness.
Speaking of limitations, don't let them stop you from hitting the like button. But go ahead, Pete.
You know what Lou DiBella told me once? He goes, hate does nothing to the person that you're hating. It eats away at you. So I always remember that. Thank you, Lou DiBella.
This is a lot deeper than I thought.
Yeah, B brings knowledge. He's 51.
Yeah, man. I've actually kind of changed my thoughts on it. Like I had some thoughts already, but then hearing you guys talk about it, I'm like, man, because like I'm not the biggest UFC guy. I don't really follow UFC like that. So I do remember some of these things though that you guys are bringing up, and I'm like, okay, now I can kind of see where it's coming from. You know, I agree with what Dana said about like he should not be complaining about Terrence Crawford and what he's able to draw. Like again, that's your job, dude. Your job is to promote Terrence Crawford. Crawford's only job is get in the gym and train and fight. That's it, man. And again, Amilcar, I have to agree with what you said too. With Rigo, like, how do you not? I mean, you got accomplished guys like Crawford's a former undisputed champion at 140. Like that should be something that you should be using. And he moved up and won a title at 147. Rigo, a two-time gold medalist, and I mean, he had no problem, promoting, never said anything about Lomachenko. And it's not like Lomachenko's out there, putting asses in the seats, and I can recall, guys, I mean, people in the audience during that Donaire fight with Rigondeaux, I was hearing the Cuba chants, Cuba, Cuba, when he was in there. So it's like, it's not like there isn't people that don't know him or don't come to the fights. I mean, same thing when Lara fought Canelo. You were hearing those chants. So I mean, there are Cuban fight fans out there. I just think that these guys do a bad job of promoting these Cubans. Like, put them in New York. It's a big Cuban population there. Florida, big Cuban populations there. Like, I mean, there's no excuse for that. This is the promoter's job. These guys, their only job is to just train and fight and win. And that's all Terrence Crawford has done his whole career.
Look, Sun Tzu, the art of war. You know what I mean? Like hide their weaknesses and promote their strengths. That's your job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you already have them anyway. You got to put them in the ring anyway. You got to. You have a contract with the guy. You got to promote him. Just might as well promote the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's so hard for you just to say, I got the best pound for pound fight in the world right here? I don't know, but that's me.
You know why I think
I have a theory that I told Beep off the record that I want to say on the record.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, and I have no proof of this. This is totally me just making this up as far as a guess. This is a Hail Mary guess, but, maybe Arum and Crawford talked behind the scenes, and hey, let me make you a sympathetic figure. I'm going to go and trash you and shit.
Yeah. You know why I think Arum turned on Rigondeaux? Because at the time, Donaire was really hot. He was like he was supposed to be the next Pacquiao, and then Rigondeaux threw a monkey wrench in that whole plan. They were like really
destroyed him.
They were really hyping Donaire up to be like the next Pacquiao.
HBO too.
Yeah.
Yes. They had him number 3.
They're all riding his dick. All the way in front of
and I think Arum resented Rigondeaux for beating him.
And it's not like this, though. Like, it's not like, Aaron's making it seem like this is him paying Crawford. Nah, bro, that's ESPN paid that. You didn't pay him, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, ESPN gave you that money.
Man.
Come on.
Yeah. And,
here's the problem. Arum's percentage isn't as big as he wants it to be, and that's what's pissing him off.
Come on, he lost a house that he could buy in Beverly Hills. Come on,
it's horrible.
And that's something that a lot of guys forget. With touching on your point, Milcar with Donaire, HBO, they had him. They were saying it every time he got in the ring. This is the number 3 guy behind Mayweather and Pacquiao, or Pacquiao Mayweather, whatever order they had it in, And Rigo went in there and outclassed the dude. I mean, just simply outclassed him. And, immediately we seen it right there after the fight. I remember seeing the videos here on YouTube from the guys that were at the fight. Like, I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't know what to do. Nobody wants to see him. Like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? He just beat one of the top guys. Promote him as a top guy, you dummy. Like, I don't understand it. And let's not forget that this guy has lost, 3 major superstars in boxing. And De La Hoya, Mayweather, and Pacquiao, they all left this guy, So I mean, maybe Bob Arum does need to look in the mirror, and look at himself and say, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the reason I'm losing money on Crawford. Because honestly, there should be no reason why he should be losing money on a guy who's undefeated, a multi-division champion, former undisputed. Like, I mean, that to me, that just, I don't know, doesn't make sense.
A proven ticket seller in his hometown.
In boxing, you can say it's not you, it's me, and it's acceptable in a breakup in boxing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Milcar, you were going to say something, bro?
No, I was just going to say earlier that HBO and everyone, they fell in love with Donaire, and I think Donaire is a great fighter, and I think what he's done by coming back to 118 has been remarkable. But after the Montiel KO, I mean, they just fell in love with him, and they didn't give Rigo much of a shot. And, he surprised everyone, and he literally got thrown under the bus, and then, like Bob backed it up, the bus back over him, and then drove off. It was, I've never seen anything like that before, and now we're seeing something akin to that now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and, not to brag on myself or anything, but, I did pick Rigo to win that fight. The video's still up on my channel. You guys can go ahead and check that thing out. And let me tell you, I got probably just about the same amount of hate for that video as I did for my video when I picked Lopez to beat Lomachenko. I mean, it was a lot of hatred out there because people were, like you say, they're really big. They fell in love with Donaire. They didn't like anybody picking against him, you know. But hey,
I mean, look, I don't want to pat myself in the back because I'll end up breaking my spine. But I picked him to win too, and I'm just putting that out there. But yeah.
You know what? I didn't pick him to win, so
that's why I love Beat, man. He's humble, you know. He's humble.
I can't jump on the bandwagon here. Eric, did you pick him to win?
Of course I did. Of course I picked him.
Yeah.
Eric picked Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson. Beat, come on.
I had a 10th round knockout, but that's you know, I mean,
You know, my greatest, you know, my
Douglas is
greatest,
from Ohio, right?
my greatest
That's
pick,
right.
my greatest pick was
Columbus.
John Ruiz over Anthony Joshua, the first fight.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, that's great stuff.
Imagine if I
man.
picked that one. Oh my god,
I did not pick that one.
Who'd you have with John Ruiz and Roy Jones, B?
Oh, I had Roy Jones.
Roy,
Yeah, I had
Roy,
Roy.
that
I
one.
loved Roy Jones.
I'm just asking because Ruiz is from Massachusetts.
Doesn't matter. Come on.
The quiet man. We were talking about him last night on my show and how his corner man exploded during that Galata
Oh,
fight.
my
You guys
God.
remember that? They threw him out of the.
Stoney is nuts.
Yes, that guy is crazy.
I've
man.
been to fights before, and I've sat in close to him, not exactly next to him, and he's like a nut.
Yeah,
He'll be having like he'll be like watching fighters that fight out of his gym that he's not even in their corners or whatever. Like, come on! He's like a fucking animal.
The funniest part to that for me was when he's walking away after the referee told him to go back to the locker room. He's like, "What did I say to him? I didn't say anything to him. Like, you just cursed him out. Like, what are you talking
He
about,
called him
man?"
a cocksucker like 5 times.
And then he goes over to Don King and he goes, "I didn't say one thing. I'm going to sue these guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to sue every one of them."
Norman Stone, what a beaut, man. What a beaut. All right, man. Let's move on to the next topic here. We got TBE. 50 have tried and 50 have failed. Is back again.
49 actually. There's 49 tried, but you know, I'm not waiting for anybody to get the math right with that one. You know.
Anyway, he's back. And I mean, let's just read the tweet here. These YouTube girls better find some Barbie dolls to play with, because I'm not one for kid games. 3 years ago, a fighter from the UFC said my name, and I had to put a muzzle on that bitch. At Logan Paul, you can get the same treatment before I go conquer Japan again. This guy, man. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what he's doing with his money, with his time, whatever, but this is just getting into the weird stage for me. I mean, he wants to fight UFC guys. He wants to fight YouTubers. Now he's going to go to Japan. Who he's going to fight in Japan? I mean, he's going to fight one of the Yokozunas over there or something. I mean, that might be interesting to me, but D-Style, I'm going to start off with you, man. What do you make of this, man? TBE's back, man. He's talking again. What do you think?
Okay, look, for first of all, I'm not one for kid games, and you're literally challenging kids to a fight. You know what I mean? Like, just think about that for a second, right? How pathetic this is. Like, hey, Floyd, calm down, dude. You're challenging yourself a little too much right there, Floyd, okay? Look, come on. He's calling Logan Paul out. Like, keep your name out of my mouth, or else I'm going to make money with you and have an exhibition boxing fight. This is stupid, okay? Now, I know he's talking about conquering Japan again. I mean, look, bro, like, you ain't conquering shit if you're fighting undersized MMA fighters in an exhibition boxing fight. That's not conquering anything, okay? At the end of the day, I think he's overestimating how much attention people are going to give his fight in Japan. If I'm honest, like, nobody really cared for his tension fight. Like, nobody gave a shit. I don't know one person that was like waiting for that fight. Maybe they gave a shit in Japan, but I don't know how much Ryzen. I think they paid him $8 million for that shit. I mean, what a debacle, okay? And like, the stoppage looks questionable to me. I mean, Tension was doing backflips and front flips, and then he started crying and shit. So I don't even know what the hell's going on with that. But here's what I'll say. I'm glad he already announced it, that he's going to come back and all this other shit. And apparently Floyd believes, like he honestly believes this. He believes that he invented the big exhibition fights, So Ali was never in exhibitions, and Foreman, all those, they're mirages. They never happened. Okay, ever. Right? Look at this. These YouTube girls better find some Barbie dolls to play with, because I'm not one for kid games. You're literally playing kid games with the kids. Okay? If you don't stop playing with those Barbie dolls, I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to play with the Barbie dolls with you. Doesn't mean anything. Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me right now? Are you for real? Come on. Stupid. Non-story to me. Non-story that I wanted to talk about, but there you go.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I want to give a shout out to all the listeners there, especially the ones from boxing scene that are here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Amilcar, man, the best ever, the GOAT is back. What do you think about this, man?
I mean, my first thought when I was looking at the little graphic there was 50 Cent challenging Floyd to read from a Harry Potter book. And I'm like, damn, there's no spelling mistakes in this tweet. Clearly he didn't write it. And I'll leave it at that.
Man, talk about Dana taking some shots. Man, Amilcar taking some serious shots. You sure you don't want to chime in on anything else, man?
I mean, look, I'm a teacher, and there's things I can't say to kids, so I can say that on the show. So, look, I don't know. I actually did watch the Tenzin fight. Clearly, I'm a loser, and I don't have enough to do day to day. But I actually did watch that. And look, if anyone's interested in seeing him fight a bantamweight kickboxer when he doesn't even get weighed in and clearly wasn't even at welterweight, I mean, why would anybody be interested in that? I don't know. He says he's going back to Japan. I really couldn't care. I wouldn't watch him against a YouTuber, at least live and pay for it. I probably would later on find a link and watch it for free. But yeah, Floyd, I think those of you who said before the show that he's broke, I mean, it's starting to look like that. Amir Khan said it early in the week. I don't know what he's doing with his cash.
If Amir Khan said it, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what other reason could there be to be doing this? I mean, if you consider yourself legitimately to be the best fighter of all time, why would you be out there in exhibition matches against undersized kickboxers and YouTube guys who didn't Logan Paul lose his first professional fight?
He lost.
I thought he was robbed.
To a fellow YouTuber, huh?
I know he lost his last fight, right? Or was that the other Paul?
I'm pretty sure he lost to the British dude from KSI.
Yeah, KSI. Yeah, it was KSI. I thought Logan Paul won the fight, though. I'm just
fair enough, but it's like you're challenging a guy that at least on the books lost to a video game player.
Yeah, but he's from Titletown, though. He's from Ohio.
Got robbed.
He's from Ohio. He's not just an ordinary guy. I mean, you're talking about a guy from Ohio, son. We make him, top notch around here. I-O, baby. I-O.
O-H.
I-O.
There we go.
Don't you dare talk about Ohio, Amilcar. Ever gonna send the hit squad out to get you, man?
He's got a serious face.
You know what I wouldn't mind seeing? You know what I wouldn't mind seeing who I wouldn't mind seeing him in against, though. Now that you mentioned Ohio, why don't they just get it over with and do an Adrian Broner Floyd fight?
Oh, jeez.
I'm down with that.
Why don't they just do that?
It's better than this, that's for sure, man.
I'd rather see the Logan Paul fight.
At the press conference, he would destroy Broner mentally. Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beeb, what do you think, man?
Beeb's kind of serious. What's going on with Beeb?
Yeah, I'm interested. I think he's going to explode, man. What do you think, man? What do you think of this?
Right now?
Got one word. Fucking corny. That's too aggressive. It's just too fucking corny for me. That's all I could say. My corny meter is going off like to the highest extent right now. It's just too corny.
Which part's the most corniest of the whole tweet? What's the
I
corniest
don't know.
part?
It's like you YouTube girls. It's like it's like it's like when someone's mad at you and they're like, "Gosh darn it, I'm gonna kill you." It's like it's too corny. It's worse than Teddy Atlas.
That's pretty bad.
Holding like little kids and threatening to fight them if they don't behave. Like, that's
he's like that old guy in the street after the kids did something on his yard. You can't stay off my yard. He's shaking his fist at him while they're running down the street.
It's just beyond goofy.
I agree, man. This is weird and just weird, man. Anything else, B, before I hand it over to Eric, man, or is that it?
Corny.
D-Star, get us a thing of corn and just put it on the screen, man.
We'll try that. Working on it.
Eric, man, what do you think about this, man?
I hate that I feel this way. I'll be honest. I really hate it. When Floyd fought Tension, I hated it, and I stayed up all night to watch it on TV.
I watched it with you.
Remember that? And we did a show right after. We're such losers.
Yeah, biggest losers ever.
Such losers.
I'll admit it. I was a loser that night too.
I was eating Jiffy Pop.
We watched the Logan Paul KSI fight.
Bunch of losers.
We're just losers. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna slam it until the count. It's like I'm gonna slam it and constantly and just dump all over this fight until fight night, and my eyes will be glued to the TV. It's a train wreck. I can't help it, man.
I mean, this will be something I could talk to my therapist about. The sickness of me watching all these ridiculous events.
Chief Funky, the producer couldn't quite get the corny, but he did find something else, though.
Oh boy, what do we got here?
Every weekend,
yes.
That's gross.
Dumpster too. Oh God.
Yes, this is 100% dumpster juice, man. That's what this is.
I bet you there's some corn cobs in that dumpster.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I just want you guys to understand the reason why I use that term, because it's like it's not even the garbage that's in the dumpster; it's the juice that runs out of the bottom on a hot summer day when it's been sitting in there for a week, and then all that filth and disgusting garbage in there it just starts pouring out of it. That's what this is here, man. This is just
you really thought about that one, huh?
Oh man,
it's like when the rainwater washes away all the shit on the farm,
I guess I'll be skipping breakfast tomorrow morning.
Right.
Let's ruin Beeb's dinner,
Hamburger down over here, right?
That's what this is to me, man. I mean, it's everything.
Lois, cancel the takeout.
I'm sorry I ruined your appetite, man. I'm sorry about that, but this is just, I mean, unacceptable for this guy to be out here fighting guys, in my opinion, like from YouTube. These guys aren't even real fighters, man. And not only that, I mean, you guys brought up a good point. The guy who he's calling out just lost to a YouTube gamer guy. Like, this guy's coming off a loss.
It was a robbery.
Well, it was a robbery. He couldn't beat him. He couldn't knock him out.
The referee took points away on.
Jack Reese took 2 points away.
Right.
It was
He's
a robbery
against Ohio fighters. I'll tell you that.
I was upset with that one. Jack Reese.
I forgot Paul was from Ohio.
I forgot that he did take a point. I forgot
he
took
2 points away.
2.
He hit him. Supposedly he hit him when he was down.
Oh, it was nonsense.
It was a flagrant foul, so he took 2 points away. What a loser Jack Reese is. Get him out of there.
Hate Jack Reese.
Not a good guy.
Not welcome in Ohio, tell you that.
Teddy Atlas should get expelled from the sport.
Oh.
It was pretty. That was a pretty bad fight, man. That was a pretty bad fight.
You were mentioning how we stay up and watch these fights. It's like we all have significant others, wives, and we all get questions. You're like, oh, is there a big fight on this weekend? My answer is always yes. There's always some fight on, regardless if it's paid.
I'm gonna say
you don't ask me to go out and do anything on a Saturday, please.
I'm gonna say something.
You lost to that guy, okay?
I'm gonna say something very controversial. Logan Paul actually has a little bit of skill. Like the short amount of time he's been in the sport, he's impressed me. Just to be as good as he is with his little experiences he has, he's actually pretty decent. It's not
Title
that bad.
Town.
So what does that make the gamer?
Dumpster juice.
Gamer lost.
Gamer
I
was
mean,
great. He was a really good fighter. I mean,
Gamer-
you got to give him that.
The Gamer was outclassed, and the 2 points just ruined it.
I'd say the gamer was game. That's about it. I mean, that guy was swinging so wild. I mean, it looked like he was throwing.
Think
It looked
about
like he
it.
was throwing fastballs instead
really
of punches.
bad.
You
Think
know?
about it. He knocked them down, and the knockdown was taken away too.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Robbery.
I'm not gonna like have a heated discussion about
Analyzing
Reese-
this fight like
Jack
a
Reese
JFK
was on the-
assassination.
Jack Reese was on the take.
That's it. I really believe that.
but listen to what he said, B. Like he's calling out a guy who has a little bit of skill. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's bad.
Listen, I'm
Like,
not,
it wasn't
no,
even that-
look.
I don't care about Floyd. I care about Jake
Wait.
Paul. I don't like Logan Paul should have
Logan
a
Paul and
W.
Jake Paul, both of them.
Logan Paul. I think
Oh, wait.
Logan Paul.
That was
Logan
really
Paul should have a
controversial
W.
statement,
He should have a
like-
W on his record right now. I don't care.
Undefeated. Title Town.
You guys,
He should be 1-0 right now.
you guys
One
are
have tried and
disrespecting
one have
Floyd.
failed.
You guys are disrespecting Floyd. I mean, he took on Acelino Freitas. He took on Casamayor. He took on Kostya Tszyu. Oh, no, wait a second. He didn't take on any of those guys. So, yeah, he has a track record of not
Paul Williams,
necessarily
he fought
taking
Paul
on
Williams.
the best guys.
Margarito,
Paul Williams.
Williams,
Paul
yeah.
Williams.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Paul Williams and
all
Turning
those
Margarito.
guys.
it back,
And
you know?
Margarito in his
Back
prime.
to back. That's right.
And
Man.
Sergio Martinez too.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And B, that wasn't really a controversial statement. You know, I think it was. You know, you're losing touch with your controversy. You know, you like make people like go crazy with your controversial statement, but that wasn't that.
That wasn't controversial. Okay.
Yeah, I have to say, as far as what Paul looked like in the ring, I think he looked better than KSI for sure. I mean, that guy was just, throwing windmills in the ring. So I mean,
Huffing and puffing.
Yeah, both guys were exhausted, but you guys bring up some good points about the points, the knockdown.
I'm gonna call him up, see if we can file an appeal for that.
Yeah, there you go, man.
I think so.
Let us know how that works out, bro. You know.
Speaking of which, the WBA is going to be reviewing the Maloney fight.
Ooh.
Yeah, I read that today. And they said that they can reverse it, which is news to me. I didn't know they can overrule a commission.
Wow.
Sanctioning by now. Wow. That's wow. Well, I mean, I think that we've pretty much destroyed, burned, cut up this whole this thing from Mayweather.
Martinez Edwards. WBC overruled the commission. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was terrible. That was terrible.
Yeah. I hate to ask the question, but anybody else got anything they want to say about Mayweather before we move on to the next topic?
Are you broke, bro?
Logan Paul should be undefeated right now.
Undefeated. Title Town.
Undefeated, baby. 1-0 or 2-0 should he be? Which one is it?
I think 2-0 because I think you count the first KSI fight where, I think it was a draw, but he clearly won that fight.
Yeah.
And then you go to the second KSI fight, clearly won that fight, was robbed by an on the take Jack Reese.
Jack Reese took some money under the table.
100% he did.
Got a free steak dinner.
Well, there you go.
Free video game.
And when he went back to his hotel room, there was a couple honey dips in there with a suitcase of money.
I actually heard that story. I think it's true.
Couple honey dips
It's a
in there.
rumor start, by the way.
There was a couple honey dips in that hotel room under the sheets, and the sheets came off.
I've Beeb, it's funny you say that because I've heard that same story. I mean, I know some people who know some people, and that's the story I'm getting.
It's not like hearsay of hearsay of hearsay.
Bunny Blue and Amber Lynn were there.
There we go.
Oh,
Very nice
man.
girls, by the way. Very nice girls.
All right. Now we're going into a weird place.
I gotta be a ref.
This is what happens when you bring me and Eric on together. You should have brought us on together.
I chose the wrong profession. I got to become a referee, bro. That's a job for you.
Yeah, well, there you go, guys. 2 have tried it, 2 have failed. TBE. So we're gonna move on from this thing here, man. And we got a heavyweight fight that we want to talk about here. Joyce versus Dubois.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fight that Amilcar is very, very much interested in. So I'm gonna just pass the baton to you, Amilcar.
Well,
What are your thoughts on this, man?
I'm not a latecomer to the Daniel Dubois bandwagon. I've been on that bandwagon since the very beginning. I'm very excited about this kid. He's very young, um, but from the beginning, you could see that he had a lot of talent. Very composed, fights within his skill set, which is something that I always appreciate. And he really has a lot of power. And you see him the way he carries himself, very humble, but he's facing a juggernaut that, let's be honest, I don't really think the guy has that great skills. I think his greatest skill is his ability to throw a lot of really slow punches and the fact that he's got cardio, and I heard he does capoeira on the side. But I see Joe Joyce getting absolutely destroyed, mid to late rounds, a very, very brutal knockout, and Daniel Dubois moving on to bigger and better things. Joe Joyce just gets hit too much, and he hasn't been hit yet by a guy with the kind of power that Daniel Dubois has. So I see him getting hit. I see him hitting the floor. I see him not getting up. And I see the new big star out of the UK emerging after not this Saturday, but next Saturday, because obviously next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, yeah. What about you guys?
I'll pass it to D Style, man. What are your thoughts, man? Joyce Dubois.
That's Joyce loading up his punches right now. Okay, they're on their way right now. Right, this is the AOL of boxing. Right?
It's almost there.
Almost there. Look, whoever sweeps, like the guys that clean the ring afterwards, like disinfected and stuff, be careful. Like that, those Joyce punches are still on their way to land. Look, man. In all seriousness, the one thing Joyce does have is really good timing. You're that slow, you better have some really good timing. Okay. Now, even for a heavyweight, I need to make sure people understand. Of course, if you compare heavyweights to welterweights, you're gonna look slow. You know what I mean? But Joyce's hands, his hand speed in particular is very slow, even for a heavyweight. So I think Dubois is gonna knock this guy out, man. I'm looking at around a 6-round stoppage. Dubois. The one thing I like about Dubois, is he perfect? No, he's still in development, but he's very fluid in there, man. Especially for a guy his size. He reminds me a little bit of like a younger Joshua, to be honest, and he carries power on both hands, and I think he'll be able to get to Joyce for sure. Mid-round stoppage is the way I see it. I'm looking forward to the fight, though. I'm gonna have to eat a lot of crow if I'm wrong. I'll just say that.
I'm going 100% on this one again, by the way.
Oh, man.
I don't really want to do that.
Oh.
You know what? I'm gonna switch my pick. I'm gonna go with Joyce. I'll take Joyce for 100, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I was just gonna say the dollar signs popped in my eyes when he said that.
I mean, who's slower, Joe Joyce or Nicholas Valuev? I think that's like an open question. This guy,
I think he's a little faster than Valuev. What was before AOL? Like, what was the internet before that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's good stuff there, Beeb. What do you think of this fight, man? Who do you got and why?
Joe Joyce looks like Nesta Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. Look at him. Oh my God, he looks just like him. Yeah, I've just never been overly impressed with Joe Joyce. I just think he just looks very slow and robotic in there. Very easy to hit. I think the thing about
you can't unsee it now, huh?
I can't unsee it, yeah.
Dubois is just very heavy-handed, though. He's a very heavy-handed individual. So I think Dubois actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Dubois got him out of there early, maybe 2 or 3 rounds. To be honest with you.
Wow.
I mean, one of the funniest thing you can do is get high and listen to Joe Joyce interviews. I mean, they're really funny. I mean, he talks the way he fights.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
It's almost like he's on Valium. He's on a Valium.
Oh,
I wonder
dude.
I wonder if he does a podcast too, like Ness.
Oh man, no disrespect to this. I never met him, never spoke to him before, but goddamn, I cannot unsee it now after you said that.
Am I right? When I'm right, I'm right. It's just like Nesta Gibbs.
We need a side by side.
Like, is that
Can somebody put a boxing voice hat on him? I mean, that would just be the cherry on top.
It's just like him. It's amazing.
Oh my God, dude, I'm literally crying from that. Oh my God. That was great stuff, Beam. Oh, Eric, what do you think about this? I'm gonna put myself on mute.
I can't even stop laughing. I gotta mute myself.
I tell you what, and I'm looking forward to this fight. I really am, man. I've been looking forward to this fight for quite a while now. Because after this fight, I won't have to hear anything about Joe Joyce ever again. I won't have to see his face. I won't have to hear rumors about him anymore or stories about him anymore. He will be gone from the boxing stratosphere. I cannot wait. I've never liked this guy. I thought there was so much hype around this guy for the lack of talent that he has for as far as he's gone. The train stops here, man. Dubois is going to knock him out within 4 rounds.
I hope Ness is going to be all right at the end of this fight.
is he going to be able to do the show still?
Hey, you know what? The good thing is this: after Joyce gets beat, he could always be a stunt double for Ness. You know, hey, I mean,
after he gets beat, he'll start a podcast. You know.
Oh man,
maybe you'll start interviewing fighters.
So that's why Ness he was so interested about the franchise belt. You know, like, he was like, hey, I got to know about the WBC belt over here, Suleiman.
oh my God, that was just too much, Beam. Oh man, but yeah, I gotta agree with you guys, man. I just think Joyce is too slow.
Ness, what's up? What's up, Ness?
It's a reunion. I didn't know it was gonna be a reunion show tonight, man.
It's a nice suit, Ness. Where'd you get that suit?
Well,
That AdSense must be paying you. That AdSense must be kicking in, Ness.
was that spontaneous? You've been waiting to say that. What's going on here?
That was great timing there, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Dubois here, man. I just think he's just more skilled, more sharp with his punches. Joyce gets just
worry about doing a podcast. He's more focused on the boxing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
He fights faster. He speaks faster. He's clear.
Yeah, this should be a pretty fun fight, though. I think while it lasts, I do think Joyce is going to end up asleep, and like D Style said, you sanitation guys put some headgear on these guys because those punches could be coming 45 minutes after the fight's over. So there we go. Oh, that email's coming through, man. You've got mail, Anything else you want to add about this?
Whenever you land the punch, that's what you're like, you got mail,
We gotta give Ness credit, man. Went from a podcast to a professional fighter. That's a great accomplishment.
I saw him in the gym, right? It's starting to it's starting to add up.
This is classic. This is going to be a classic one here, man. Amilcar, anything else you want to add to this, man, to this fight before we switch topics?
I mean, do punches count if you're on your back throwing them 10 minutes after the fight's over? I don't know.
Yes, you're gonna have to ask Ness that question.
Oh man. Smash the like button, guys. You will only find boxing and comedy here, all right? Make sure you guys do that. Anybody else? Any final thoughts here on this fight?
Oh, if I laugh anymore, I'm
And that just came
rupture.
on. Hold on.
If I laugh any harder, I'm going to rupture my spleen.
Dale from Shy. Yo, I started this podcast with like super bad back pain, and the laughing just brought it all back. So,
It's good therapy.
Dale from Chi-Town says Joe Joyce at Prodigy.net. I forgot about Prodigy.net. That's a good one.
Prodigy.net. Okay.
That's really old school.
Yes, I have to agree with you, Black Caesar. Don't put that picture back up again. I can't take it anymore. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Guys,
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
All right, there we go.
yes, we are definitely entertained.
And you dig it.
It had to be the best movie ever.
Yes, classic, The Warriors, man. Classic movie there. I grew up on that bad boy.
No, it wasn't us. It
the
was them.
The Warriors did it.
Oh, by the way, real quick, for those listening on the podcast form, just Google Nestor Gibbs and Joyce side to side.
Oh man, classic stuff there, man. But moving on, like the science said. Anyway, moving on. I have a question for the panel here and for the guys in the chat. Let us know what you guys think about this. But with all the litigation stuff, arbitration, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, will we see Fury versus Wilder 3? Will that fight happen? Eric, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think?
You know what? Unfortunately, I think you probably will. The fact that Fury's fight was canceled in December, unfortunately, I think we're going to see it again. And I don't think we need to see it again. We saw it twice. We saw the same result 2 times. We really did. He won, 2 rounds in that first fight. He didn't win any rounds in the second fight, got knocked out, batted around the ring. What makes me think it's going to be any different here in the third fight? Nothing. I don't want to see it. I'm not a big fan of rematches anyway. I'm sure not a big fan of trilogies, so I don't need to see it. But unfortunately, I think we will.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay away from the chat. I still see some jokes out there about Joyce, but
the boxing Joyce.
The boxing
Joyce. That's a good one.
Holy shit, man.
No, it wasn't us. It was them. The Warriors did it.
Oh, shit. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this, man? You're the president of the Tyson Fury fan club. And I gotta give you your props, man. You've been talking about this guy for a long time, man. You're not a bandwagon guy. You've been on the train for a long time. So give us your thoughts, man. Will we see this fight happen, man?
We actually exchanged Christmas cards now, but the thing is this. It's already marked on my calendar for in March, late February, early March. It's gonna happen. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. And I'll tell you why. It's because the pandemic. That's what's gonna, any arbiter that hears this, they're gonna take into account the pandemic. How could this fight have happened in October because of the pandemic? And that's gonna be the defense. And I think it's gonna hold up. I think it's gonna hold up. And also the fact that they did agree to fight after October. They did. They did agree to a December date, and now all of a sudden they want to walk it back. The arbiter is going to say, okay, well, why did you walk the December date back? Oh, because we couldn't get a live gate. So what guaranteed you have that you're going to get a live gate next year for whoever you fight? And have you put on fights this year without a live gate? Yeah, we have. So why can't you put this fight on without a live gate? So the bottom line is Bob Arum just wants to make money and more money than he can with this fight, and it's not Wilder's fault. So it's gonna happen.
Interesting thoughts there, Beeb. Amilcar, what do you think, man? Will we see Fury versus Wilder? If the trilogy, will it happen, man?
I mean, we'll probably see it. I don't want to see it like, Eric said. I mean, I wanted to see the second fight because I felt Fury was robbed in the first fight. Fury battered Deontay out of the ring in the rematch, and there were knockdowns that weren't even called by Caney Bellis because I felt that Caney Bellis, despite Deontay's accusations, was actually quite biased towards Deontay. I wake up every morning, I got my Android phone with me. I take it to the bathroom, and the shit I see coming out of Deontay's mouth is worse than the shit my toilet sees. I mean, every fucking day I go to my little Android news feed and I'm seeing new stuff. Did you guys see the racist stuff he said about gypsies?
Yeah.
You guys see this?
I did not see that. No.
It was absolutely ridiculous. It was so bad. And I mean, you substitute the word Jew or the word black for the word gypsy in what he said, and you can really feel how bad those words were. The gypsies are one of the most abused populations, especially in the last century. They were the victims of the Holocaust, just like the Jews and others were. And for him to say these kind of things, talking about how they're basically thieves, and if the kind of thievery is part of their culture type thing, and that's why Fury's a cheater. I mean, every time he opens his mouth, I actually want to see the fight less because I really just don't like what he's done since the second fight. So yeah, we'll probably see it. I think it's going to be kind of a very divisive fight. They're going to try to turn it into a race war type thing on social media, and I just see it as being very unfortunate.
Yeah, it kind of started that way, but I'll I'll leave my thoughts until it's my turn to speak. I'll hand it over to D-Style. What do you think, bro? Do we see this fight happen 2021? What do you think? Oh, you're on mute, bro.
Man, I just said the greatest thing of all time.
Too much Joyce, man.
Oh, I did mute it because I was laughing. That's right. But I want to separate this in three parts really quick. Part number one would be to your question. The question is, will the fight happen? I do believe it's going to happen because I think B explained it very well. You know what I mean? As to why I believe this fight's going to happen. So I don't want to take away any credit from Beeb or anything like that, right, for what he said. So I agree. I concur, right? The other question is, do I want to see it? Because I think Amilcar doesn't want to see it. Eric doesn't want to see it, right? Beeb is kind of like maybe, but
I want to see it. No, I want to see it now.
But you would rather see AJ, right? I mean, is that fair to say?
No, I want to see this one now first.
Okay, all right, right. He flip-flopped on me. Okay.
I changed my mind.
I believe G-Funk, he'll speak for himself, but I believe he's okay with it too.
Yeah, I want to see this fight now.
I'm on the, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm not against seeing it. I would rather see Undisputed with AJ. If you give me a choice, that's what I would rather have.
I want to see Battle of the Egg Weights.
But I'm not against this fight at all, right? The other thing is, let me separate the Glovegate thing for a moment, right? Because I feel like Glovegate is destroying what can be really good dialogue about whether or not we should see this fight. You know what I mean? And I want to separate those things, right? So let's set Glovegate aside and explain why I wouldn't mind seeing this fight again and seeing if I could convince anyone who doesn't want to see it. I mean, people may or may not want to see it anyway, but we have data from the first fight. Okay, I believe Fury won that fight, but he was dropped twice. He was hurt the second time. He did get back up, by the way, and hurt Fury with a right hand. For those saying where did the power come from? Well, he did hurt him at the end of that fight, but that's not here nor there, right? So we have that fight. We also, this is what I believe happened, right? Fury hit Wilder, kind of back here, on the back of the ear, right? And I believe that hurt Wilder, and he never recovered from that shot, right? And he got back up and proceeded to take a beating for another 5 rounds. And what I question is, here's Wilder, his balance isn't there, right? His equilibrium's off. He's hanging on to the ropes at times. He almost it was a legal knockdown because Fury, he did catch him to the body, but I don't believe that's what knocked him down. Like he
But
just like fell
D-Style,
down. I think he was off balance, and I I just honestly believe the third fight would be closer than the second fight. I just don't think Fury would dominate him like that again unless he catches him with another perfect shot like that.
he's already said though, D-Style, that the reason he was wobbly like that is because Mark Breland tainted his water.
But this is why. But this is why I want to separate the whole controversy, all the conspiracy theories.
I'm just joking. I was purposely putting the two together. My fault.
But
I know what you're trying to do.
But what it was definitely the shot Fury landed. So what I know is this: like, I still think Wilder has a puncher's chance. A guy that could punch like that is always in the fight, right? But that was taken away from him when he wasn't able to sit on his punch, when he wasn't able to shoot it at the best of his abilities, because Fury legally and everything knocked him down, hit him right here. He went down. He never recovered, right? And I want to add this to the conspiracy theories. There was no power that came out of nowhere. Fury literally couldn't take a man that was not all there after that shot, okay, for 5 straight rounds. Any power puncher, take AJ for example, would take a dude out in 1 round flat if they were off balance and their equilibrium was off. Okay, like, of course he's not a power puncher. Nothing has changed. Was he sitting on his punches more? The Kronk Gym, all that good stuff. Yes, but there wasn't a miraculous power that came out of nowhere at all.
There's not one punch knockout power from this guy.
No, that doesn't exist, and that's kind of something that's made up.
But we're also not giving him credit for the fact that he took away Wilder's punch by really dissecting. And Ben Davidson actually did a lot of this dissecting. His tells in terms of what he does before he throws that punch. He always brings his right arm down
to the nipple, right?
Yep, and what Fury was doing is watching him bring down his right hand, and he'd take a half step or 2 steps back so he wouldn't get caught with the power. I mean, that was a big reason he didn't get the shot landed on him in the second fight.
Well, but that's my take.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff there, man.
Can I convince anybody, or they still don't want to see it?
I want to see it. I want to see it now because of all the controversy surrounding it. I think that the fight has a storyline now.
Yeah, that's where I was going to kind of go.
We're turning to professional wrestling now. We need a heel. We need the face.
Seriously,
like, you know what I mean? Hell in a Cell. Is that next?
Fury Wilder, Hell in a Cell. I like that.
I would watch that. I would
little
watch
little NWO action right here.
That's right.
Just too sweet.
I was just going to read the quote I was referring to earlier. So he says, he's a known cheater. So if you're known to be a known cheater, why are you going to stop now? The gypsies believe they have an opportunity to cheat, and if they don't, they consider you to be a sucker. I mean,
look. Let me tell you something. If he's a known cheater, if you know he's a cheater, you knew it all along, all right? Again, Jay Diaz was there at the glove selection meeting when they put on your wraps, okay, when they put on the gloves. He was there. If you knew he was a cheater, isn't that something you would look for? Or are you just bitter that you got your ass whooped? I'll take the latter.
I think he's bitter that he got his ass whooped.
I agree.
Reminds me of Teddy Atlas.
How dare you talk about Teddy Atlas like that? Teddy Atlas is boxing.
No Teddy Atlas, no boxing. That's for sure.
What I got to put up with every Sunday, by the way.
We got to replace the Canelo shirts that say "No boxing, no life" with "No boxing."
Can I say something?
Teddy Atlas, no boxing.
Look, I keep getting people send me this laundry list of like what is this, a grocery list? They give me these long lists of all the bad, naughty things, a Santa list of all the naughty things that Fury has done throughout his career, right? Well, he did all those things when Wilder called him out. All those things existed and were a thing when he called out Fury. Okay, before they even got in the ring and fought, that list that you're giving me existed already.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard
So
when he
you
was
already knew, right, that you're going in there with a known cheater, right? And you know how the gypsies are, so like you should have been right there, right?
I heard when he was in second grade, he stole a Twinkie out of one of his classmates' lunch boxes,
Hey, that's very
That's
serious.
true.
You do not steal a
That's
Twinkie.
very true.
and he got caught.
That's really bad, though.
Yeah.
He got
Can
caught.
can we get a hold of this guy so we can get that fight too? I mean, he's, maybe
Let me
we
tell
can.
you something, man. You do not steal Twinkies from a kid, bro. That's fighting.
You know what else he did? He went to a candy store one time and he stole a bag of M&Ms.
So
I didn't hear that story, but I wouldn't put it past him. Put it that way.
in all seriousness, look, we knew about everything that happened with Vladimir Klitschko and all. We already knew about all that before they fought. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't use it now after he lost. You know what I mean? Like, but he's a known cheater, so there's no way he could have won. Nah, you got beat. That's it, right? Remember after the fight and the post fight, say, hey, no excuses. Blah blah blah. Right? I'm just saying, no excuses.
He said the better man won.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Brian Custer actually did a pretty decent job in his interview with Wilder. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I saw it, yeah.
I haven't had a chance to get around to it.
I thought he was going to shy away from the tough questions, but he actually asked them.
Well, my thoughts are this, man. Legally, I do think it's probably going to happen. And I'm good with that, man. If the fight happens, of course I'm going to watch it.
Fights are legal. They are legally made, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with all the the contracts and all that. Like I said, I'm not a contract guy when it comes to boxing or anything like that. But it sounds like because Fury was pushed off of his date with somebody else, that it's most likely going to happen. So, I mean, if it happens, of course I'm going to watch it. I'm a junkie, can't help it. I gotta feed my addiction. My boxing addiction. So, of course I'll watch it. But I'll throw you guys a curveball. Now I know that the claims, the glove gate and all this other stuff, the poisoning of the water, the egg weights, the removing of the padding, the fist down in the wrist area of the glove, all this madness, it could rub people the wrong way, man. Now it could people like us, hardcores like us, it might get our blood boiling and say, I want to see it now, But I mean, let's look at it like this, and then like Amilcar said with the racial stuff that's been thrown out there now, and this has been there since the first fight. I mean, remember Wilder? That was the whole infamous Radio Raheem thing, to this day thing, and it all kind of started from there. I mean, look at what happened with the NBA when they came back, and they decided to put things out there like that, was as far as racial injustice. A lot of people turned away from it. The ratings suffered because of that. Yeah. I mean, this could turn a lot of people away. It could make a lot of people want to watch it, For me, like I said, I'm a hardcore. I'll watch them all. So it doesn't make a difference to me. I think the third fight should happen because we didn't get an official winner in the first fight. Fury battered him, gave him a sound beating in the second fight. So, I mean, the third fight is okay. I'm good with it. I think Tyson Fury will win that fight. I agree with D-Style. I think that Wilder does have a puncher's chance because we've seen he's been able to put Fury on the canvas multiple times and hurt him pretty badly in that last round. But then again, Fury got up like the Undertaker,
And knocked down.
Fury knocked him down more than he got knocked down by Wilder. That's just numbers right there.
And he got up and hurt Wilder in that 12th round. So I mean, no, he was not. He was not knocked out. No.
No.
But I would at this point I would pick Fury. I think he's figured him out. And if Wilder can just concentrate on what he needs to do to win that fight instead of just bringing these accusations out, which have not been proven. I still haven't seen any real proof of all this type of stuff. Focus on the fight, man. That's all I would tell you. Focus on the fight. Make the proper adjustments that you need. But I just don't think his head is there right now, man, with all this type of stuff.
Can I just say something really quick? Yeah. So I just want to make sure I say this, in terms of like the example you used about people being turned away by the NBA. I mean, was there people that maybe got turned away? Maybe, but I will say this though. I mean, the NHL lost a lot of ratings, and they weren't doing all that. You know what I mean? Like I think sports as a whole, just in general, because of the pandemic, lost ratings. I think that's the main reason.
I never understood that.
I think that's what the data shows, in my opinion.
Yeah, the data shows that, but it's kind of confusing because it's like if you can't go to sporting events or watch shit in like sports bars, you'd assume that people would all be
Would watch it
watching
at home. Yeah.
right? But the reverse happened. You know, it'd be funny though if Wilder shows up to this arbitration stuff and starts citing force majeure, like Beeb said, but then starts citing like the cheating and the gloves and everything else and calls that force majeure.
Can't do that.
A lot of
The judge will at that point tell him, so do you want to fight him or not? Like what do you want? You know what I mean?
Can't do that. We've already went over that at the legal office.
the legal office, Beeb and Associates. They're there when you need them.
I got a call from Team Fury yesterday. We're going over everything.
But yeah, I think this is a very, very interesting situation here with this fight. But we'll see, man. I think most of us probably agree that it's going to happen. A couple of us don't care to see it. A couple of us do care to see it. But I'm pretty sure we will all watch it if it does happen.
I'm going to do a live cast.
I'll be there checking you out for sure, Beeb. Another topic here, since we're talking about fights and stuff like that, but the situation with the pandemic and COVID-19 running wild, man. It's back, and it's back with, some fury. No pun intended there, but here in my state and in my city, the governor has issued a curfew now. So, they're starting to lock things down and starting to get back to where we were at the beginning of this thing. So the question to the panel is this: will there be another shutdown of boxing from the pandemic like we had at the beginning part of this year, man? I'll start with D-Style, man. What do you think?
I don't believe so, because there's already they already have the bubble in place. They already have when the pandemic first started, they weren't prepared for it like they are now. Like they have a system in place now to keep the sport running. And I gotta say, I know we played the video footage of him earlier and all that, but Dana White's the one that stepped forward first, and got everybody to start. Bob Arum basically, almost copied the formula and did it himself. And I think I do believe sports will continue. So the answer is no. There will not be another lockdown. Now, will it make some fights more difficult to make, like the one we were just talking about? Because there's maybe there's not going to be any live gates and stuff like that. Will they maybe not do a fight at the Alamo Dome, like Davis, Leo Santa Cruz? I think the main question would be, will it halt or continue to halt fights with crowds in it? Because I'm already getting used to it. By the way, like when I saw, Loma versus Lopez. I didn't even think about it. Like, oh, there's no crowd.
It didn't even make a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm already getting used to it. So I think we're going to be okay in terms of that. But, we will see, as far as that goes. Now, granted, not all countries are in the same state. I mean, if they want crowds, they did tend, you can maybe go to Australia, do fights there. I know Arum's talking about, putting, Lopez over there. So, maybe go to countries, South Korea, that they got the pandemic under control. I think there's places to go if you want crowds, but the answer is no. It won't stop anything.
Okay, D-Style saying no. Eric, what do you think, man? The pandemic, it's, COVID's running wild again. Do you think there'll be another shutdown, man, and we'll be out of boxing again?
When we first, I thought there would be. D-Style makes a lot of sense, though. Before that, they didn't have the bubble. They didn't have, and like I said, with Dana White doing his thing, and then now the boxing with Arum and that bubble they have, people holding fights without fans. I think that's probably going to be the way it's going to go. I don't think it actually shuts down. I mean, he brought up a really good point because they weren't ready for it before. But the problem is, I do think with the ramp up of COVID and everything like that coming back and it's ramping up, I think that what you're going to see is a lack of big fights. Because again, the Fury Wilder fight, that's got to take place in front of a crowd. They're going to do the Spence Garcia fight in front of a crowd. Again, though, with this ramping up, especially in Texas. I mean, especially in Texas, I'm kind of second guessing why they're doing this in front of a crowd in Texas, man, of all places right now. It's gonna and I say that because of the COVID spread over there, not because of it's Texas.
Man, calling you out, D-Style. Tejas, what's going on?
I mean, it's not like it's Ohio. I mean, come on, I just think I think we're going to be without big fights, and we might be without them for some time now, if it does keep ramping up and everything. But again, I think we're on the swing of it with the vaccine coming out and everything like that. So I think it's by next summer, we should be back in full swing. I would think, I would hope anyway.
Same for me, man. I'm hoping for the best. That's pretty much all you can do at this point when dealing with this. Amilcar, what are your thoughts, man? Will we be shut down again? Yes or no?
Quick question for Eric, though, first. Is that the Bridgerweight title there?
That is the Bridgerweight title. That is the Ringside Reporter Bridgerweight title. And I tell you what, we defend it with pride here. OH.
That's what's up.
Bridgerweight franchise title.
That's
right.
That's the Lebanese title. That's the Lebanese gold belt.
This is the Lebanese gold belt right here, the money belt right here.
That's funny because the Suleiman family is originally from Lebanon.
I know.
Lebanon, Syria.
We're cousins.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me your guy where you got those from, man. I like that. Go ahead, Amilcar.
No, I mean they might have to bring in the crowds for the Bridgerweight title. The first one. But no, in all seriousness, I got to agree with D-Style. I think that because they've created the bubble, the kind of model is there. We're not going to see the kind of fights that they were talking about over the summer when they were talking about Fury and Wilder taking place at the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. Or you're not going to have arena fights, whether it's here at MSG or in the UK at the O2 anytime soon, at least with big crowds. So, yeah, we're just going to have to get used to the idea of sports with the fake crowd noise and the fake crowds in the background is essentially people looking into their video screens from home. And, that's kind of going to be the future for the foreseeable future, at least until the vaccine comes through and is, distributed. I think that's going to be the biggest player right there, how quickly governments can disperse the vaccine and get people vaccinated. Until that happens, we're just going to have to enjoy bubble-style boxing.
Yep, and I agree with D-Style. I'm to the point where it doesn't even matter anymore. Some of these big fights that we've been waiting for that happened, it wasn't even a thought in my head. And yeah, I'm good with it. But Beeb, what do you think, man? Will we be shut down again or no?
Well, getting a little nervous, I'll be honest. I'm starting to hear lockdown talk again, and it's really getting me nervous. And here's the thing. I'm thinking it can slow down. I'm really thinking it could slow down because I'm hearing think about this. In my state now, they're doing a Kirkview. They're doing a lot of restrictions. They're revamping things. People are the numbers are going up. Their testing is going up now too. They're still doing remote learning from school. So what I'm thinking is, I think boxing is going to be limited to where they can show fights because I think a lot of states, because of that Kirkview, will not be able to have events. And I hate to say this because I don't want to play the blue state, red state game, but Nevada is a blue state, so I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't know what they're going to do. So.
Well, at least they have video replay.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous that they may
They got that going for them.
I'm a little nervous that if it doesn't get shut down completely, I think it's going to start slowing down again, and I think some of the bigger fights, as Eric said, will not probably happen.
Why don't they take these fights to Florida? Florida's wide open right now. I mean, they don't have any restrictions. South Dakota doesn't have any restrictions. Take it to one of those places. I mean, if you want a crowd, I mean, take it to Florida. I mean, honestly, I mean.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, why not? And I don't think we'll be shut down. Just to answer the question, no, I don't think so. We're to the point now we can have these sort of things happen without it being, crazy. We've figured out a way to control it, and so no, I don't think there will be a shutdown again. But I mean, yeah, why not explore these other places? I mean, I remember getting up early in the morning to watch Jeff Horn versus Tim Tszyu. This was back when, I guess, in the middle of this whole thing. And there was 15 to 20,000 people in an outdoor stadium. They were there to watch it. I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of mass there. I mean, they had it under control there. There's other countries too that have this thing under control. It's the problem is it's the behavior of people in this country. I don't want to get too scientific and all that stuff like that, but I mean, that would really change a lot of things if people just change their damn behavior. Like we wouldn't be waiting on a vaccine, but it is what it is at this point. But I don't think there should be any reason why it should be shut down. We've created bubbles in multiple places: Nevada, California, I believe Connecticut. Yes, I mean they're all over. So, I mean, there's no excuse. Let's just keep this thing rolling. It's a little bit more difficult for the other major sports with teams and stuff like that. With travel, I mean, it's kind of hard for them. Unless they're all going to play in one site, which would be crazy. But, at least here with combat sports, I'd say UFC, boxing. And I've been telling all my friends this that are casuals to boxing and they watch all the other sports. They're hardcore in the other sports. But I just told them, I said, look, man, combat sports has put themselves out there and they've been the best since this pandemic hit. I mean, yeah, we had a little break, but guess what? We got a lot of the fights that we wanted to see. Like we got to see Loma versus Lopez. We're going to see Garcia versus Spence. We're going to see Canelo's going to come back. We're getting a lot of fights we wanted to see during the pandemic. So let's give boxing a hand, man. They finally did something good here, man. They were able to get things done during the pandemic. And I'm proud to say
Dana White started that. Like, you know what I mean? Because hey, Arum criticized Dana White for starting the bubble. I'm just putting that out.
Yeah. So we'll give him some credit too,
Oh, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Beeb, you make a good point about, again, because the problem with this pandemic also has been, people have really turned it into a political thing, and we'll see what happens with Nevada. But hey, if we can't get the fights done in Nevada, there's other places, man. Like I don't want to make excuses anymore, man. We know what to do now. We know how to control it in these environments. So let's keep this thing rolling, man. That's the way I see it, man. Anybody got any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm still a little nervous. It's gotta be honest.
Nobody else. Yeah.
Fucking Teddy Atlas.
Teddy Atlas, man.
Don't you dare talk about Teddy Atlas.
Can we get Teddy on one time, man? We should reach out to Teddy. All right, let's bring him back. What do you think, man? Can we bring him back to boxing or what?
He'll probably bring Ken Rideout with him.
Doesn't matter. What's the matter with you?
Freaking goofball Ken Rideout with those freaking tight pants.
I don't know about you. I wouldn't peep in his pants out. I don't know. I mean,
you can't help him. They're so tight you can't miss them.
You can't help him.
Teddy's hype man.
Uh-oh.
Is there no one else? That was you right now, G-Funk.
Anyone else?
Anybody else? We're just like, nah, we're good. Like anybody? Like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, well, you never know. A thought might pop up, a little boop, little light might pop up, and hey, what about this? But
I mean, let's be honest. 2021 is gonna suck if there's no boxing and we're all forced to stay home. I'll say that much.
You know what?
Yeah.
Here's what I feel about boxing. I mean, look, the Crawford Brook fight could have probably made more views. It was a little earlier, and if they didn't keep people waiting on a 30-minute replay,
Oh,
right?
Jesus.
And it still did over 2 million. Uh, Lomachenko Lopez with ESPN Plus and the live viewing did over 4 million. I mean, there's views there, so even without the crowd,
Worse than
so at the end of the day, I think as long as Fox, ESPN is like, hey, make these fights happen, we'll air them. There's really no reason for the motherfucker not to make these fights.
Worse than
Yeah.
the 20 or 30-minute replay to me on Saturday was having to watch the end of a blowout college football game
Oh,
between
yeah.
two teams that don't even matter. I mean, what the fuck? They should have just switched that over to ESPNU or another ESPN channel. I did not understand that.
I agree.
Yeah.
If it's not the
And
Texas Longhorns, what are you doing? They're like,
seriously,
just
I got to tell you,
go
I
straight.
told multiple people to turn on boxing at 10 on ESPN to watch a really good fight. Multiple people that don't usually watch boxing. And when they turned on ESPN, people were texting me back like, "Yo, there's college football on. What's going on here?" Those people would not have stayed to watch the boxing.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a gambling thing. People want to make sure that they get that spread covered in college football. But this has been a great show, man. We go mark another one off. This was great. If you guys want to post any links to your channels in the chat, so you guys the viewers here can subscribe. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys your last words and let everybody know where it is they can find you here or YouTube, wherever, social media. I'll start with Beeb. Go ahead, man.
Well, you can find me at Ringside Reporter Live on YouTube. You can find me at JBeeb1 on Twitter. You can find me at Joe Beeb on Facebook, Joe Beeb on Instagram, where I have great pictures of myself there. And that's about it.
Oh, man, that's good stuff. Eric, man, let us know where we can find you, man.
RingsideReporterLive.com every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find me on Twitter at Ringside73. And there you go.
That's how you
Yeah.
do it. Come on.
make sure you guys watch them every Sunday. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, where I'm at, is where I catch them. And it's a good show, man. Make sure you guys join them every Sunday. Milcar, you do the same, man.
Well, you used to be able to find me at the local Blink here in the mornings here in the Bronx. It's been a while since I've been able to get that kind of workout in. Mondays, I'm with Dave Duenas, ESP. I was about to say ESPN. Leave It in the Ring Radio. My fault. I always shit on ESPN, and then I just gave him the plug. Monday night.
A shameful plug at that, too.
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm with Dave Duenas on Leave It in the Ring, the live show. I'm not too good at being on Twitter. I'm gonna get better at it. It's Emil Caribe at Emil Caribe on Twitter, and I'll be here as long as you guys have me on Thursdays for the roundtable. It's always great.
Absolutely, man. And I know you was from the Bronx, man. Hey, the
Yeah, man.
BX in the house, baby.
South Bronx, right by Yankee Stadium. I can
He's
see
from
that
the-
outside my window.
He's from the Boogie Down.
The Boogie Down, yeah, man. Boogie Down Productions, man. One of my favorite hip hop groups of all time, man.
That's right.
You know,
South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx.
Ooh, man, don't get me
South
started.
Bronx,
Don't
South
get me
Bronx.
started, Beam. But that was a nice one, man. And
Bang,
I see why I never became a
bang,
musician.
bang,
KRS-One,
bang. Listen
Big
to my
Pun.
9mm go bang.
So just so you don't ask me where people can find me on my channel.
yeah, I was just gonna say they know where
Right.
we're at, man. Yeah.
Like I'm here. No, but look, man. Look again, guys. Every Tuesday, Spanish Cause Panic. Make sure you guys tune into that. Of course, uncensored on Chief Monkey's channel every Wednesday. Look, man, and the roundtable usually on Thursdays now. Next week's Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to be doing a roundtable next week. Okay, on Thursday anyway. I might do something on Wednesday or something like that. But that'll be announced, tweeted out at D-Style Boxing on everything. Whether it's Instagram or Twitter. Make sure you follow me, all that good stuff, and that's all I got.
I'm hoping we could do something for the fight, the Joyce Dubois fight. That was a lot of fun discussing that today.
That's on 20. That's the 28th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday.
I'll be doing a live broadcast for that too.
Yep, and like D-Style said, you guys already know where you can find me. HCP is here every Tuesday. Wednesday on my channel, we do HCP Uncensored. That's where you guys can come on and speak with us, man. You just shoot me an email, gfunky84boxing@gmail. Anybody's welcome to come on and discuss any of the topics that we have out there. And that's pretty much it, man. We're going to wrap this thing up. I'm G Funky. For the rest of the guys, we are out of here, man. You guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
The bridge is over. Prata! The bridge is over. The bridge is over. Prata!
Not bad.
I like it, man.
We're out. Peace.